Da da da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. Oh my goodness, past few minutes I was all, what do you call that? I was all mixed up. I was running all over the place. I had messages in my marketplace I had to answer. I was kind of emotionally stirred up a little bit in in a content creator that I do follow. I absolutely love this gentleman. And I don't worry about getting stirred up because this is where I can actually get in and make some serious movement, where I can actually delve into topics and not just take somebody's insight as fact, as truth, that I can take things apart and put them back together the way that I want to. But this gentleman, he's actually a rabbi, and he's so smart, and he does get your mind stirring. But I'm thinking to myself as he's going into the subject of conversation, how much emphasis that he puts on religion and spirituality and those other parts of ourselves. If you guys hang out with me, right, you guys know how much I love that human part of myself, that I'm creating the most beautiful human being that I possibly could be. And it's not something that I've appreciated a great deal in my life. In fact, if I really am honest about it, I didn't think very well of myself for the most part of my life. Some of it dictated by others. Sometimes it's picking up that baton and running with it yourself, right? And it took me a long time. We're talking decades, right? I've always made sure that in creating the best life for myself, right? There's a difference. Creating the best human being and creating the best life, right? Because it's about making sure that your life is in a state where you are enjoying it. You're enjoying the landscapes, you're enjoying the relationships, enjoying that time with yourself. You're enjoying the adventure in what you can create in creating that best life for yourself. Now, it's only been a decade or so since I've delved into these topics and come into the realization that really I should create the best human being I can be. Not just for myself, but you guys know that we're supposed to be the example for each other. We're supposed to be that example for each other. We live in a world where everybody is so full of questions, heartbreak, hunger. And hunger can come in so many different forms, emotionally, physically, mentally, right? And this is the idea about creating the best life for yourself because it keeps your system in a state where you have a clear mind, right? You have a better understanding of life. And when you have a better understanding of life, you can spend that time on yourself. You can delve into topics that agitate you. Yes, that rabbi Simon Jacobson, he got me he got me going tonight, right? Because I really have a problem in this idea that we were set on this earth to be servants and to be slaves and to be accountable and to drive ourselves into the, not that he's saying this, right? But driving ourselves into the ground, being those farmers, not just in our lives, right? But as that example for everybody else. So, what's everybody doing? They're running around like ants, following each other, right? Working themselves to the bone, putting themselves in these states of constant questioning, constant anxiety, and not appreciating life, right? Not appreciating life. That's where all of this started for me. I don't think I would have woken up to any of these ideas if I had not paid attention to creating the best life for myself as I possibly could, because I was so messed up. I was so broken. I was so desolate in my life, right? I thought I was a zero. I thought I was a loser. I thought I had nothing to contribute to this world. And so I said, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have friends. I'm going to do what I want. And yes, it took a little bit of a while to calm that system down to get me into a state where I could actually look at myself, like actually look at myself, because I couldn't even look at myself because I didn't care about myself. I didn't like myself. I didn't take care of myself, right? And so when I hear, different thought leadership out there, that want us to hand our lives over to something bigger, just to hand it over. There's no partnership. There's no, right? It's just a terrible thing to me, because I really do think that we were put on this earth to create the best life for ourselves as we possibly can, so that we can be the examples for each other. Hello, Tammy. I know you're there. You can tell I'm a little bit stirred up, right? And maybe I haven't been doing a good job at getting that important message that I have out there. And I don't expect that everybody's going to gobble it up as a truth, but it's evolution. And we can't be there yesterday. We can't be there yesterday. We're not going to be there tomorrow. Next year, in the next generations, it's just not going to happen. And we don't even know what we're building. We have to go through that experience of life, that experience of growth and inner, correct, inner understanding for ourselves, right? That inner understanding for ourselves, and not take everything, even if we love and we admire and we trust and we're dedicated to these people that we're around. There's a reason why Cindy's doing this alone, right? It's because of exactly that, because I'm a unique in my own right, and I have my own beliefs, my own understandings, and my own set of priorities. And yes, I'm leaving myself open, and I am willing, and I am doing my very best to stretch in some of these ideas that come across my path. But when it bumps head, we're supposed to, when it affects us, when we're supposed to look at our emotions, we're supposed to check ourselves and say, how does this make us feel, right? And sometimes it's amazing in our triggering, right? In our triggering, those things do get us going. It gets us into a state where we're ready to stretch. We're ready to find out the reason, or make our stand, or say our piece out there. right? But when you've already got that peace, right? When there are some things in each one of our lives that are ours, right? That right? And when I came in and I said, I don't know if I have been making myself clear in the messaging that I'm trying to put out there because people are supposed to be enjoying their life, right? But you can enjoy your life and you can partner with those other parts of you and you can partner and well, right, you can give that faith and that belief that we were talking about yesterday and that hand that to something bigger and larger than us. But we have to understand that that message that's coming from something bigger, right, is correct for us, is the message and the understanding that you have. And of course, allow yourself to be triggered, maul it around in your mind, maul around in your soul. But if it's still like sandpaper after doing that, right? Lots of it, again, we were talking about it yesterday, right? About influence and manipulation. But I guess, right, I should have stressed a little bit more or at all, because I didn't, in this idea that we are all unique. There are so many different ideas out there, so many different perspectives, so many different organizations and networks and religious ideas and political ideas and cultural ideas and just like myself, familial ideas, right? My parents got things right, right? My dad got that ball rolling for the rest of us in that family of ours, right? And I am grateful for that. But he got that ball rolling. That's not to say that everything that he dictated to us was correct, was the be all to end all. And I was, right, somebody who was projected and was molded, and I was taught to serve and to take care of my family and to give up my own existence and my joy for life. And that's why I coped the way I coped. That's why I stressed the way I stressed. That's why I was so filled with that anxiety, right? That's why I thought those things about myself that were not true, right? Because that didn't come from whoever or whatever, because whoever or whatever does not want us to believe that. And if I had believed that, if I hadn't created the best life for myself as I possibly could, I would not have calmed my system down enough to understand that I have to also create the best human being that I possibly can be too, so that I can be that example for others that they can do it. They can do it too. It kind of breaks my heart that everybody is so all over the place and they're not taking into consideration the human being, right? God created us in his image, right? And Tammy, right? If you believe in God, you believe in that. And I believe in that, even if I'm not a Christian myself, I believe in that too, because that was a lesson, that was a message that was put out to the world. And yes, I gobbled that down. I took that as a truth. but I believe that as a truth. And that's the thing, right? Somebody could have said that to me. Somebody could have put that down my throat and I could have said, "Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so." And not been willing and not been able to go into my own soul and my own contemplation, right? And come up with my own understanding of, yes, right? That is a truth, right? But do you think whoever, whatever, looks like this? No, we haven't evolved to that state yet. And yes, it's our responsibility to be the example for those around us. But it's not in a way that we should be beating ourselves into the ground to not appreciate the beautiful landscapes and the beautiful relationships in our life, the children, right? The husbands, the joy of just smiling and being with yourself, right? We are very privileged to live in this world right now because I have been able to do some work, right? In this age of AI learning, that I have been able to apply myself. And I have course corrected in so much. I am not the person I was 10 years ago, right? But my life has been full of change from the day that I was born, right? Change has come into my life and on a very, very consistent basis. And I've had to adapt and conquer and ride those waves. I have. Sometimes it's out of the dictation of others that I didn't have a choice, right? You don't really have a choice when your mother tells you to do stuff, or, right? Your father tells you this is the way it is. You have to take that as a truth. But we have to grow up, right? We have to be our own persons, our own uniques, and we have to be able to live the life that we want to live because it's going to be in those mistakes. If we're listening to all these ideas and we put them all together as one idea, we're just going to be like the ants, following each other and being exactly the same. And we could be totally off track. The idea is to have those adventures, have those relationships, mess up, make mistakes, reflect on those mistakes, course correct on those mistakes, be the example to each other, not just the successes, but to be honest in those mistakes. And when, if, right, I have those moments where I go, oh my goodness, right? So and so was 100% right and I was 100% wrong. I will vocalize that. I won't just course correct in my own understandings. I will course correct here, right? I will bring that apology and I will explain how that process of pivoting in my beliefs, right? Because we each could make a change tomorrow that we don't feel, think, or live that way today. And that's 100% the truth, right? I woke up to some of these ideas instantly, right? And those instants, that's my truth, right? Because that was handed to me by, right? And so if that was handed to me, that's what I've got to run with. And yes, I am listening. I'm sitting in. I'm being, I think, a good student, a good spectator, but I'm also a participant. I am also a partner because in that learning, who's doing that? Cindy's doing that. The human is doing that, right? And you can go overboard in that, and you can listen to everybody and totally make yourself so confused that you could just flip your life upside down. And yes, that will be an experience, won't it? Right? Because that's the idea, to have these experiences. Tomorrow I could wake up and say, okay, Cindy, you're going to be a Hare Krishna. Put the dot in my forehead, shave off my hair, and get out the tambourine, and off I go. No respect. Disrespect, I mean. No disrespect to the Hare Krishna, right? I'm just using that as an example, right? I apologize if anybody took offense to that. But it could happen, right? It could happen. And that would be an experience. But would it cross check with my truths, with my understandings, right? It's like a puzzle, people. A puzzle. It's like a puzzle. And you wake up, and whoever, whatever, has given you a little handful of puzzle pieces, just a few. You just get a few. That's all you get. But this puzzle is like 3 feet by 5 feet. That's all the puzzle pieces you have. The idea is to go off into the world, and in your experiences, and in your relationships, and in your networks, and in the lessons that you take in, that you accumulate other puzzle pieces, and you start working on that puzzle. But you have to make sure that those puzzle pieces are fitting in with that little handful, right? There's no use of collecting puzzle pieces if nothing is connecting with that little handful of puzzle pieces that you were given, right? That are your for sure's, right? That you can't budge me from that. Everything in this world has got to connect, like not necessarily connect to this little handful, but connect to everything. So eventually that puzzle is complete. And that puzzle for me is not even close, right? And I will never get that puzzle finished. Never, not in this lifetime. But you guys know that I truly believe that there are parts of me, those other parts of me, are going to come back. And that little handful of puzzle pieces that I woke up to, it might be an ice cream pail full next time around, right? For the next person who's going to wake up to those ideas, that they're going to be like this, trying to hold on to all these little puzzle pieces that are for sure. And that's evolution. That's evolution. And evolution, humans are going to be here for 1,000,000 years at least, right? We don't look like Neanderthals. We don't. That was only 40,000 years ago, right? Only now we are losing our body hair. Men are going bald. We don't have fuzz on us anymore, right? That our tailbone is this big now and not like this anymore. Can you imagine what the next 40,000 years is going to look like, let alone the next 1,000,000 years? And yet we're rushing, right? Just to hand it all over. And for the next 1,000,000 years, we won't even make it there because we will just be so frazzled. We're not even going to make it to that point because we're so full of anxiety and heartbreak and frustration, hopelessness, those questions, right? And we're just handing ourselves over to anybody who's got that one answer, that one puzzle piece. Oh my goodness, they've got it, right? You hand it, and you hand your whole life over to them, and you hand over that entire experience. And yes, that will be an experience, but what will you learn? How much movement will you make? What kind of example will you make to the people that you surround yourself with, right? How much growth? I want to enjoy the views. I want to enjoy the experience, and I'm 100% solid on that, right? I am creating the best life for myself as I possibly can because I believe, right? That's what got me to this point right now where I'm now creating the best human being that I possibly could be. And that is a truth. And there's so many people out in this world that are exactly where I was 10 years ago. I would say a big part of the majority of the world is that broken, right? Not everybody, not anybody has got their poop together, right? Nobody does. And I love these thought leaders out there that get us thinking this way, right? I am not upset in it in any way, but the system does get stirred up. And in my contemplation and mulling things over while I'm in the shower or doing the dishes or whatever I'm doing, that I'm able to, right, have my own little revelations about that. And I have to keep my puzzle pieces close to me, right? That they can't be taken away, that I can't put those puzzle pieces off to the side and say, okay, right, I woke up to something, but somebody's telling me it's something else. So we'll just put this in a sandwich bag and put it in the drawer, and maybe they'll fit into something somewheres down the road. I get stirred up, but that's the idea, right? We're supposed to get stirred up. And I could be making a total no. Right? The people that come across my path, I want you to love life. I want you to love what you're doing. I want you to be the example for the people around you, right? Because the people who are around you are the ones that you grew up with, the ones that you surround yourself with. These are your family. And if you're broken, right, and you were broken and you have been able to resolve and you have been able to get solidly on your feet, maybe not solidly, maybe you're still wobbling around, but maybe you couldn't even crawl 10 years ago, right? Maybe you were so low in your life that you wouldn't even think to have a voice or have these kind of conversations. So I'm going to give myself, I'm going to give myself that, right? It's important for us to enjoy life, to create the best life for ourselves as we possibly can. Yes, partner with those other parts of ourselves, right? Because they have had those experiences. And yes, maybe they didn't get to the point where you're at right now or where I'm at right now. But if I'm learning this, right, those puzzle pieces belong to all of us, right? And next time around, there's going to be an ice cream bucket, at least on my side. There's going to be an ice cream bucket full of good pieces, puzzle pieces that fit and click together nicely, right? Understanding that the next person that these other parts of me are going to wake up into, right, are going to be a Christian or a Hare Krishna or a Buddhist or Jehovah Witness. But those ideas will be solid, right? It's I think we put so much emphasis in, right, handing it over this word hope, right? I If you guys hang out with me, you guys know I use this word optimism instead of the word hope, because hope is sitting there with your hands open. Please help me. And even if you are Christian, right? God helps those who help themselves, right? Not just help themselves pull themselves out of the hole of their life, but helps themselves to the goodies and the gifts that the world has to offer. Wouldn't have given us such a beautiful world. He could have just given us little concrete rooms just to sit there and contemplate life and worship God if that's what he wanted us to do. But no, he wants us to enjoy it all, right? And yes, kindness, love, trust, truth, all these beautiful words, I believe this is what we're leading to. But humans are still in their darkness. So when they talk about darknesses in their lights, right? The light and the darknesses, right? And the darkness is touching the light for the very first time. But if the darknesses are touching the light for the very first time, they got that from somewheres, didn't they? They got that from people like Rabbi Simon Jacobson that stirred them up and got them thinking and brought them closer, right? But didn't say this is the be all to end all. It's just to get things moving, right? Just to get things moving, to evolve a little bit, right? We're not all evolved. You can look around just in your own neighborhood. You can tell 100% that we're not all evolving in the same manner, at the same speed, and not evolving at all sometimes. And that's where extinction begins, right? I believe the meek will inherit the earth, right? Because the meek, right, they want to have a voice, but they're so squashed. Their systems are so frazzled. They're so full of anxiety that they can't bring anything to the table, right? They can't even enjoy their lives because they're afraid of the world and what it does or doesn't have to offer, right? Okay, let me come into the comments. I feel a little bit better. Let me have a sip of my juice first. I love being stirred like that. I truly do. And that's what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to stir people up this way so that to get you thinking, right? To get you to pay attention, to get you not to feel guilty. There's a big one. Feeling guilty about enjoying your life, right? There's a lot of people out there not enjoying their life. Isn't it heartbreaking to see that people out there are struggling and hurt? And then when you sit there and you can smile or laugh or go on a little vacation or have a job that you love, right? Or be the person that you want to be, there is guilt and shame in that, right? We're leaving people behind. We don't want to leave people behind. We want everybody to join in. But they're their own uniques with their own ideas, their own perspectives, and their own choices, right? Their own choices. And we can't force anybody, right? But we can stir the pot a little bit and get people thinking if they want to think, they want to feel. But the idea is, right? Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Enjoy your life. Calm your system down. We talk about this all the time, right? About keeping your cup full and giving away the froth that's overflowing off of the top of that mug of beer, right? Not to give away the last drops on the bottom of the mug, right? It's a milkshake. Somebody's got their straw down there and sucking up the very last bits of it, and there's nothing left for you, right? You can't help anybody, right? Until you can help yourself. And I know that because I experienced that in my own life, right? And I do feel bad. I feel that guilt and shame for feeling like this is my life. I have one shot at creating the best life for myself as I possibly can. And I did a crappy job at it for the most part of my life. But I didn't get it all wrong, right? I didn't get it all wrong. And someone or something recognized that I didn't get it all wrong, that I got some things right. And so offered up that little handful of puzzle pieces to see if I would work with them a little bit, right? See if I could turn that little handful that would only make maybe a 5 by 6 square and be able to maybe in this lifetime get it by a 1 by 1 square. Wouldn't that be amazing? Okay, let me come into the comments here. You are a-okay, Cindy. I totally understand what you're saying. These chats are vital to our souls and our spirits and our beings. And I agree with you about what you're saying and what you're talking about. Oh, thank you so much. Right? But it's important for you to mull over the topics for yourself, just like I did when I got stirred up. I remember yesterday when I was in my live and I was talking, and I came down into one of your comments and I went, right, I get what Tammy's saying in the comment that you said. Like it was something that you didn't relate to and what I was talking about, but you were saying that you were sitting in and you were listening to it and contemplating on it to come, and you're going to deduce and you're going to come to your own conclusion in that, right? We This is the whole idea. But yeah, I appreciate that, Tammy. Growing up most of my life in a religious background, we were told to serve, right? And it is, I think, what, right? We are servants of the, right? We are that, but we can serve in so many ways. You heard me talk about the little drummer girl, right? It was my dream to be a philanthropist, to have millions and gazillions of dollars, that I could do wonderful things and make Bible camps for the kids that didn't have opportunities to enjoy Mother Nature and stuff. Like I had dreams. I wanted to fix roofs and renovate and restore old Carnegie libraries. There's over 400 of them in North America, right? Over 400 of them, and they're all falling apart, right? All of them need work. Here in Winnipeg, I believe that there's only one that is still in operating order, Carnegie Library. I think we had three of them, and one of them they just demolished because the roof had gone. They were hoping to use the building for the archives, but it didn't work out. They just couldn't raise enough money to save the building, right? But don't quote me on that. That was just an article I came by, and I'm just thinking like I probably don't have it absolutely correct, but the idea is that these buildings are important. And Andrew Carnegie was a philanthropist. He gave his money away to build for education so people would have that opportunity if they wanted to go and learn. But he didn't say, you needed to learn this and you needed to learn this and this is the truth and this is the be all to end all. He just built these libraries and they put books in them just to stimulate, just to get that ball rolling. Just like my father got that ball rolling in my family for us, right? And that ball's rolling. That ball is rolling in so many different ways. And again, it is heartbreaking because even within my own family, I feel bad because, my sister's sitting at home. She can't see, right? She lost her driver's license. She had triple heart bypass. She's broken her foot. She's so sad, and I feel bad about going for walks and enjoying the sun. Tomorrow I'm going to go for a bike ride, and today I walked to the store, and I'm just right. And is my life where I want it to be, my dreams and goals? No, it's not. But it's in the pursuit of it. And in that creative way, we give back. And my give back is this, right? And that's a miracle in itself. Like how that even happened is a miracle in itself, right? Truly, right? But I'm not giving up my life to this, right? Yes, I give, right? I'm here 6 days a week. But that will change too, right? The content will change as I change, my insights will change, the scheduling, the videoings, right? The videos. I haven't even gotten into the shorts yet, right? And the amount of content that I have out there would just take me forever to siphon through all of that to chop things up and make insights, right? And if I move too fast, right? If I move too fast, I'll be pulled in. And in that busy, it will take away from me filling up that ice cream bucket of little puzzle pieces, right? I got some catch up to do in this life, right? I've only woken up to some of these ideas in the past 10 or 12 years, but it probably had been going on my entire life without me understanding. And again, like I said, in living the best life for myself as I possibly could, in having fun and adventures and those beautiful relationships that I had and beautiful, wonderful landscapes and going camping and connecting with Mother Nature, all those good things that helped to calm my system down to the point where I was actually able to get an insight that got me to that point where I did get that little handful of puzzle pieces and get that ball rolling in not just creating the best life for myself as I possibly could, but in creating that best human being that I possibly can be. Understanding if I'm on these platforms, what better way to be an example to others except through the process of it, right? And like I said, I could be totally wrong in some of these aspects, but being here 6 days a week, I would have to be genuine and I would have to be honest in that course correction, because if I've led anybody astray and I knew I led somebody astray just because it was a egoistic idea in my brain, right? And you're entitled, right? You're entitled. But if you know you made a mistake in that, then you have to take that responsibility, and of somebody been being led astray, right? To have somebody think that they have a puzzle piece in their hand, and it's actually that piece that right at the end of that puzzle, and you're trying to think, oh my goodness, I got one puzzle piece left. Where does it go? Where does it go? It wasn't even supposed to be in your hand, and then you spend lifetimes with this puzzle piece, and right, and it really messes you up. That would be on me. But the good that comes out of it, that would be on me too, right? That would be on me too. But it doesn't mean, right, no right can make a wrong. Once you've done a wrong, that wrong is made, right? And you can't bring somebody flowers and take the pain of it away, because the wrong is still there. Forgiveness was given in that. But we don't forget, do we? We don't forget. And lots of times that damage is still left to sit there and fester, right? And again, like I said, keep somebody in a place when they could have made so much movement going in a different direction, but because they trusted you, right? They put their faith, right, in the conversations, and they believed enough in you to have a little bit of belief in what you said, right? To each one of us, we are responsible to mull things over, to feel things out, to really get an understanding what's true for you, right? What's true for me, I'm creating the best life for myself as I possibly can. You guys hear me say all the time, right? I'm going to sing in the rain, right? I am, and I'm going to enjoy the views, and I'm going to have many adventures, and I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to show up here as who I am. But who I am right now is going to change, right? Might change tomorrow. I might come off my live tonight and go, oh my goodness, go in and watch my live and go again and go, oh my goodness, Cindy, you were so wrong in that. And I would have to make a note so that when I come live tomorrow, right, I have to course correct myself. And that doesn't mean, right, because that's not to say that somebody that came in tonight and got that message may not come in tomorrow to have me course correct. And again, that would be on me, right? That would be on me. But you do the best that you can, right? Understanding that we all make mistakes, but we're allowed to make mistakes, right? And we got to try really hard not to feel bad about those behind us that will never follow suit, will never come into line with us. And they're not supposed to. They're living their own lives, and they have the right to live their own lives, even if they're making a mess of it. But it's to each one of our capacities, right? And we're not on the same page. We're not even close to being in the same stage of evolution as even some of the members in our own family. And that's the truth. You know that, right? We all we all know that. And if you think each person, if you right, if I'm right in that idea that we are gonna, some parts of us are going to show up in another lifetime in somebody else, who's to say how far they've gotten. And maybe some of these lessons, right, this ice cream pail that I'm putting together, maybe only one or two of those pieces might be able to pass along because, right? We can't say what the capacity of that person in the future is, right? Lucked out that they got such a muncher, right? Here in me that I'm able and I enjoy what I'm doing. When I say I'm creating the best life for myself as I possibly can, right? Part of that is loving what I do. And I do this because I'm doing this to my desktop. I watch everything on my desktop. I only do my lives and edit video on my laptop, right? But that's the truth. And who's to say how long or if ever somebody down the line is going to wake up and say, oh my goodness, this is so much fun. Let me delve into emotions. Let me understand trauma, right? Let me understand how important it is to enjoy life because it's important to enjoy life. Not all of us enjoy life. And those of us who do enjoy life, we got to learn to do it without feeling bad about those who are not enjoying their lives, right? Smile in our service, right? Tammy, you know about this. Being a caregiver, you know about this, right? Having to take care of people who can't take care of themselves. And you do that out of the love for doing what you do. But at the same time, that you can appreciate that these people don't get to go for drives or go out for dinner or look at a beautiful landscape or go to a movie and understand what the movies, right, are even trying to get across in the conversations or in the story, that we have to just appreciate life for ourselves, right? And in that giving up the froth, right? Once we get to that point of starting to work on creating the best human being we possibly can, after and during we're creating the best life for ourselves as we possibly can, because our systems will feel so much better, right? So much better that you'll have the capacity to do a little bit more, right? To serve a little bit better. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate that. She has had the roughest past few years, and you know, I don't know uh, how she can even snap out of it. Sometimes we get so deep. I know what she's going through because I've been through that. Not the same story, but my own story. But those feelings, I know those feelings. And my sister is a stubborn bird who's not woke to any of these ideas, to my understanding, right? But I do understand that sadness, that being scared and not being able to come up for a breath of air even before something else goes wrong. Yeah, it is, right? Yeah, but I appreciate that you're sending my sister some good cheer. I send her some good cheer too. There are a lot of aspects of my sister that are so beautiful, right? So giving. Like she's such a giving person and she doesn't complain, right? And we talked about this last week about laying our problems on other people, but you have to get it out of your system. And even in the state in her life where she's at right now, it's her depression that's stopping her from even wanting to try, right? Even wanting to try. And the best way that you can try is in creating the best life for yourself that you possibly can, because at that point you're not able to create the best human being you possibly can. You're not even interested in that. You're not interested in helping yourself. You're not interested in helping any. You're interested in helping yourself, but you're not interested in helping anybody else because you're so deep in your own issues, right? But you can make yourself comfortable, right? You can buy yourself a new outfit. You can make plans and set goals like I do. It's a big part of what I do. It's what makes me happy. It's what keeps me in good cheer is the fact that I'm constantly planning my trip every September, that I sit here and in between being punch drunk with sitting in on important conversations and lessons, that I go in and I watch uh, YouTube reviews on these RVs and campers, right? Because it's something to look forward to, right? It's that stick with the bag on the end, that sense of accomplishment that makes me feel so good, right? And yes, that was the way that I was programmed, right? Just like Tammy in that being brought up to serve, serve, serve. There, right? It does serve, but it's what gets me going. That's my motivation, that's my inspiration, is that stick with the bag at the end, and it works. It works. It keeps me right. I can't imagine doing what I'm doing right now and not having something to look forward to, right? There are things that we can do, but again, we have to look at the capacity, and we could shoot it out there, but we can't stuff it down somebody's throat. It has to be in their own choices, right? Their own choices. But we can get that ball rolling. We can stir the pot, right? We can get somebody thinking about these things, right? And if they start thinking in that and moving in that, and it works a little bit, just as much as you get credit when you get something wrong, you'll get credit when you get something right. And that's serving also. Okay. Um, and if a person is serving and doing and giving, yet it's hard to enjoy life, and it's like we're programmed that way, and the years pass and have gone, and in some ways, it's like I'm in the same place. Uh, yes, Tammy, right? That's exactly what happened to me, and it kept me in place for over 50 years, right? But understanding that one idea of you give the froth, and yes, but it makes you feel, it's got to make you feel good, Tammy, that you're going to get another shot at this, and all that serving that you did. Like, that's why your parents gave you that, because they wanted you to move with God, right? Because the caregivers, I am convinced, get a free in, right? Because they care, they're giving, they're serving. And that's the whole idea, is to serve. But unfortunately, right, you should have had that opportunity to be a child and have adventures. And I know the stories that you tell me, Tammy, and I know that you've had amazing experiences. And I know that you've created the best life for yourself as you possibly could, even in the serving that you did. I know that 100%. But yes, right, sometimes we do feel that we are stuck in the same place because that's the way that we were brought up. That's the way we thought it was supposed to be. And we end up sacrificing ourselves after somebody else has already sacrificed you. Yeah, but that's a story for another day. Okay, you guys, let's get into a card. Call it a night. I saved another Rabbi Simon Jacobson's uh, He just posted like 10 minutes ago before I did my live show. But it was on a topic that I was really interested in. So I had to put watch later on that. So after I do my thumbnail, watch my own live back, right? And take the lessons for myself. Then I'm going to message that lady who messaged me on Marketplace and fill her in on the information that she needed. And then I will go in and I'll watch his presentation in what he wanted to get across in his gifts, right? In his serving. And then I will call it a night, right? And it was an enjoyable day. I enjoyed my day. But that's the idea, right? To enjoy what you do, right? Don't sacrifice yourself because you're no good to anybody that way. The whole idea is to enjoy your life, keep your system calm, keep yourself happy and content because you know that there's a lot of stuff out there that's going to throw a wrench into your life and put you in that hairy, scary where you're doing 100 times, 100 things in the 5 minutes before you're going live, like I did, right? But that's life. That's life, right? But yeah, enjoy your life, right? Remember, you are a human. None of this you wouldn't be able to serve if not for the hermit, the human, right? Right. So take care of yourself. Enjoy what you do, right? And just carry on. Just keep remembering that you matter, right? You do matter. I matter. Okay, you guys, here we go. Let's grab a card, go into it for a couple of minutes. If you haven't been with me before, 54 powerful words. Dreams are goals not yet realized. We had this word this week, didn't we, Tammy? Right? Dreams are goals that are not yet realized. And it's in the pursuit of those dreams. And you might not ever reach that end goal. I might not ever get that bag at the end of my stick. I might not ever be able to pat myself on the shoulder ever again, but it's in the pursuit of our dreams, right? Knowing that those goals are not yet realized, right? Just keep putting one foot in front of another, right? Those are our dreams, and they become goals. They do. And they're just not here yet. They're just not here yet. And it's in creating the best life for ourselves as we possibly can because we know that's what, right? Our dreams are made up of. And things will come across our path, right? Those lessons, those those chores, those bits of service that we're called to, they'll come across our path in that mix, but we're supposed to enjoy our life. So don't stop yourself from pursuing your dreams, right? It's what we're supposed to be doing. It's what keeps the smile on our face, right? It's what keeps us dancing in the rain, right? It's what keeps us motivated and inspired and have belief and faith that it can be done, right? That it can be done. Okay, you guys. That's my good cheer. Let me just come down to these last couple of comments just in case I missed something. Um, never have to. I'm right. In past, we kind of read through typos, don't we? I know I was a terrible speller growing up in school, and yeah, I could read. I could read letters that if the words were even written backwards, I would be able to read these things. Okay, I still have dreams and goals and things that I would like to do yet in my life, and that's things that I want to do right? And that's exactly what you want to do, Tammy, right? Set some goals for yourself. If you want to go on a little vacation, if you want to spend some time with your kids, make that time. Sometimes those wrenches get thrown into your life and you have to do those cancellations. But that's the bag at the end of the stick, right? I make that trip every September, right? Grateful up till now that that trip always happens for me. But at some point, somewheres down the road, maybe it won't because something else comes up that's more important. But that's life, that's change, and that's what we dance with, that's what we play with, right? And it just becomes a goal for the following year, right? And in that time between now, if I knew now that I wasn't going to go on that trip, I would be so sad. I'd be depressed. I would be scared. Like, how do I get this happening? But I don't worry about it because I'm moving towards it, right? I'm still dreaming about it. And those are my goals. It's just not realized in the moment. It's going to happen. And I'm just going to trust that that trip in September is going to happen. You guys wait and see, right? It's going to happen. Okay. Um, yeah, treat yourself good, Tammy. Oh my goodness. And the power word for tonight is dreams. Thank you, Tammy. I always appreciate that you put that in there. And yes, we did have that word the last couple of days or so. Yeah, pretty neat. It's in the patterning, you guys. That's my good cheer. And we'll see you tomorrow.